The alarming increase in crime among students across the country has sparked a series of emotions, raising eyebrows and leaving behind a chain of blame games. Our reporter Hadia Mosiwa had a vast conversation with Edith Aura, who is a psychologist, and this is the first segment of this discussion.
There's been a sudden increase in crimes among students since they recently returned back to school after an extensive break of a lot of months in the midst of curbing the spread of COVID-19. I'm speaking to Edith Aura, who is a psychologist and also a registered Kenyan nurse, on exactly what is happening to the students right now and what could be the main cause of this sudden change of behavior. Daktari, welcome to
Thank
Switch
you
TV.
so much.
And we've seen the sudden increase in crime cases among students, and also we have witnessed cases in Kisii, for example. There was a student who stabbed 2 teachers, almost to death. Now, so many other cases have come up in the country that show crime among students, that they recently returned to school. It's just been a week or less than 10 days. Mm-hmm. What is going on? Where are we going wrong?
Thank you so much, Eben, as we talk about that. That's a very important topic to tackle at this point. It may look like it's late because we've been found what they call, just found flat-footed as a country and also as parents and as teachers. But whatever is happening is just normal. It's a normal reaction because of the changes that children have gone through, that no one has addressed the children. The children are feeling left out. The children are feeling that they're not being handled as adults. Because I believe for 9 months they felt adults, and I think some of them felt they never go back to school.
Yeah, because of the freedom.
Because of the freedom, and then no one was giving directives. The whole world wasn't going to school. And most parts of the world are not even going back to school. They are still in partial lockdowns. UK is in the 3rd lockdown. So our children are wondering, so if there's coronavirus, so why are we going back to school? And I think it's just resenting. They are resentful and they are feeling like a little bit, it came too suddenly. Yeah. So I think it's a way of just speaking out. So they have some resentment in them. They are speaking out, but we are not understanding their language.
And just before we started this conversation, Edith was telling me that teachers should not handle students normally because they're not normal. They went away for 9 months, almost a year. So how do you presume they handle these students?
I think initially, as they reported back to school, they should have gone on. They should have had a kind of stepping stones, like going in stages. You're just trying to understand them. Like when you're meeting somebody whom you don't know, you don't rush and just embrace someone. You start learning. So I think they should have relearned their students, allowed themselves to realize that we have been away from these students for long.
Yeah.
I mean, in our history, for the last maybe 50 or 100 years, because all of us, we never saw the last pandemic, the Spanish flu, which also took 2 years. So all of us, we are strangers in this. So meaning, the student has never stayed away from the teacher for more than 3 weeks or maybe at most 2 months. But now this is 9 months, 10 months is when they are meeting again. They are just trying to relearn each other. And so if there was no relearning and unlearning, that's where they are clashing. Yeah. I personally feel the teachers should have remembered that these children have been away and they've had so much freedom. And they were used to that freedom for so long. You cannot just pick people who have been walking freely and you put them into seats and make them to sit upright. It's a little bit easier for younger children, but especially adolescents who are undergoing through a lot of chemical changes in their makeup. They themselves, they are trying to identify themselves. They're trying to understand who they are. It's at that point when they're developing the secondary sex changes. The body's changing. Some of them were expecting they would have finished their secondary school, and now they're being found that they still have to go back to school, even with those changes. Yeah. And there are those ones who had not begun the changes, but because of also staying away so long, some have gone back with those changes. Some have gone back expectant. Some in the 9 months, they even had eloped. They had gotten married. They've gone through so much. And so it will take them quite some time to also come back to their senses and realize, yes, we've had that long period, but now it's back to books.
Yes.
and it's gradual. It's gradual. Yes, there's a syllabus, but it's gradual.
Yes, and Dr. you just mentioned that these children are very angry. They are communicating something.
Yes.
And we have seen recently there was this 22-year-old boy who is also a student
Yes.
that killed the entire family. And that is very alarming, because at a young age, for you to plot a murder of that design, that means you should be very angry or depressed. What are we missing as parents or as a community? What signs should we be looking at to make sure that we know these kids are going through depression, and how we could help them through the steps to get better and avoid, violence like this?
Yeah, because violence will be there. One thing, being able to monitor what your child is consuming. What people consume has a big effect on their lifestyle. Because I think you can get issues here. We're able to tell that this child was watching some serial of the movies that show crime,
Yeah.
and so he was able to follow up. He was enjoying some particular series and was able to see that this thing can work. And because that age is an age that they want to be identified, to be seen, they want to do something that will make them to be heroes. Whether it will work for them, whether it takes them to prison, that inner person, that inner desire will lead children to do something that they've seen someone else succeed. They don't care. They don't even put it to account that is a movie, that is a script someone has learned and practiced, and then you can see there so and so acted as so and so, so and so. They don't even see that because of the way the growth of the brain is happening. The excitement part, it grows very fast before the reason. So the other growth of the body and the brain grows faster by the age of around 12. But the reason matures at the age of 25. So you'll see that a lot of crime, juvenile crime, happens before the age of 25, because the reason is not there. Yeah. So when parents are not aware that their children, they might be tall, they might be huge, but they are babies in big bodies, then they miss the point.
Okay.
Because suddenly you're telling them, kuwa mtu mzima, be a mature person. Don't you see what you're doing is childish? So then, because they're at the point where there's a reasoning part that is lower and there's an excitement part that is faster, they feel, oh, you call me a child, now I'll show you I'm not a child. So they're not reasoning, despite the fact that they are big. So parents should be able to identify that this is a child. This is a child in the first place. I'm still paying school fees, so this is a child. I'm still providing food, so this is a child. This child doesn't have an ID, so it is a child, despite the fact that the body is big.
And even if I think they do have ID cards, if they're living under your roof and you're still providing for them, maybe they are in uni, but they're still, babies, big babies, babies in big bodies, as you put it.
Exactly.